Brief history of Stoic. The founder of Stoic philosophy, Stoicism, around 300 BCE was Zeno of Citium from Cyprus, 336 to 264 BCE. He taught in Athens, in the painted Stoa, hence the name Stoic. Zeno believed that only philosophy and its consequences in one's life could bring happiness. He famously said, "Since I am shipwrecked, I shall sail boldly." Stoicism appears to be an evolution of the ideas of the Cynics. The founder of this school was Antisthenes, a student of Socrates. He expressed the teachings of the great philosopher extremely and shaped the perception that a virtuous person is one who neither possesses nor needs any material goods, resembling God, who lacks nothing. Zeno, apparently influenced by the Cynic philosopher's teachings of abstaining from material goods but positioned in a more balanced stance, taught about contentment, independence from worldly things, freedom from passions, and living according to nature. To live according to nature, one must first understand it. And to understand nature, according to the Stoics, the prerequisite is tranquility and peace of mind. This is the foundation of ethics. According to them, Stoic ideas did not remain unchanged throughout the active existence of the school. They changed according to the ideas and personality of its leader at the time. Thus, there was sometimes a great variety regarding their worldview. What remained at the core of Stoic teaching throughout its existence, and what interests us primarily here, is the teaching regarding ethics. Due to these differences, Stoicism was divided into three periods: ancient, middle, and later Stoicism. The first period includes Zeno, Chrysippus, and Cleanthes, the second includes Boethus, Panetius, and Posidonius, and the third includes Seneca, Musonius, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius. What we know about the early Stoics comes from fragments by later writers. Even these, however, are uncertain in terms of their authenticity and credibility. We have only two complete works by later Stoics: Epictetus, who was a freed slave, and Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, and a Greek in his soul. Epictetus, who lived between 50 BCE and 120 CE and was initiated into Stoicism by Musonius Rufus, wrote the Enchiridion, and his student Arrian, the author of Anabasis of Alexander, wrote the Discourses, based on the notes he kept. Marcus Aurelius wrote Meditations, in the Greek language. Stoicism, passing through various phases, remained vibrant and alive for 4 centuries. Eventually, with the emergence of Christianity, it was gradually absorbed and assimilated into it. Stoics, following the example of Socrates, placed greater emphasis on the practical application of philosophy than on logic and physics. According to them, without ethics, human engagement with logic and physics not only leads nowhere, with no substantial benefit to humanity, but can also be detrimental to it. According to them, philosophy, the science dealing with the truth and nature of things, is the art of living, and aims to regulate human life in a way that is truly beneficial for them, leading them to happiness and fulfillment of the objective purpose of their lives. Human happiness lies in harmony with the divine reason governing the world. According to Zeno, spirit and matter are the active and passive, pathos, elements of the one generative principle. The world is the body of God. Human beings are determined by a very strong, physiological need, the constant protection and promotion of their lives according to their nature. Epicurus specifically states that, according to Socrates, the greatest happiness of man is to observe himself improving every day. Human beings are determined by a very strong, physiological, innate, need, the constant protection and promotion, surpassing, of their lives according to their nature. Epicurus specifically states that, according to Socrates, the greatest happiness of man is to observe himself improving every day. For the Stoics, passions are more or less intense negative and pathological, unconscious, passive, and uncontrollable, movements of the soul with divisive and destructive, self and other, elements. Every unhappiness in life arises from the appearance and uncontrolled functioning of passions, which overwhelm and suspend every rational function of human beings. Passions are sown very early in human life and manifest later in various forms, egotistical diseases and disorders, which, in order to be permanently expelled, require education and continuous exercise by humans. This expulsion can only be done by the hegemonic, conscious self, of the human being. In other words, for the Stoics, the expulsion, control, of passions occurs when a person can balance vulnerability and resentment, achieving apathy. However, the aspirations of the Stoics extend far beyond the achievement of human happiness in this life, as Epictetus says in his Discourses, 2:18-27, they wish to become a god from a man. Therefore, the ultimate goal of Stoic philosophy is not simply the application of certain virtuous or ethical principles but the deification of man. The task of the philosopher, according to the Stoics, is to take care of their hegemonic, their mind, and their soul, inner life, and not to concern themselves with external things, which they must engage with and handle logically. Referring to the ancient, early, Stoics, who practiced and taught exercises in self-control, apathy, complete abstention, etc., Epictetus said that, people should not go to extremes. Elsewhere, the same eminent Stoic says that, the philosopher's school is like the doctor's office, surgery, from which the students come out pleased but in pain. And this happens because they do not enter it healthy. The non-philosophers, according to the Stoics, live randomly, driven by fate, without direction, without purpose, and their lives escape in vain. It's as if they never lived at all. Therefore, the Stoics, along with all the Greek philosophers, acknowledge that only those engaged in philosophy find the right path of life. The path that leads to happiness, prosperity, and freedom. Only a philosopher can truly be free, even if they are a slave. For the Stoics, wisdom is the submission, conscious and therefore free, of humans to God and the acceptance of fate, providence, nature, predestination. The Stoic perception of life is not, as many believe, passive. The Stoic philosopher does not advocate abstaining from various activities. That's why Stoic philosophy flourished in Rome, where, at least until the end of the Republic, representatives of the upper class saw their main way of dignifying their existence in their engagement in political and military arenas. Epictetus succinctly stated that neither poverty nor sorrow hinder the wise, nor do these things throw the inexperienced off the path and dash them against the rocks. You think that he is worn down by misfortunes. On the contrary, he uses them. Phidias didn't only know how to make statues out of ivory. He also made them out of bronze. If you gave him marble, a more inferior material, he would still make the statue as perfect as he could. In the same way, the wise person, if able, will demonstrate their virtue in wealth as well as in poverty. In their homeland as well as in exile. As a general and as a soldier. In health and fullness, as well as in sickness and disability. Regardless of the fortune they encounter, they will create something memorable from it. Here are some other quotes and teachings of the Stoics, primarily Epictetus, especially regarding the subject of ethics that interests us directly here. It depends on me not to have any malice, harmful desire, or disturbance in my soul, but to see things as they really are and to deal with them according to their true value and their relation to me. You should know that this ability comes from your nature. The above leads to the famous saying of Epictetus, and by extension of the Stoics, which is also one of the fundamental principles of philosophical psychology and psychotherapy: it's not things that upset us but rather our opinions about things. Everything in nature is interconnected, and one thing serves the other. So, rational beings were made for one another. Therefore, enduring the faults of others is part of justice. Elsewhere, Epictetus says the above in different words, which is another fundamental principle of philosophical psychology and psychotherapy: all humans constitute a family since they come from the same Father, the one God. The uneducated person, when they fall into misfortune, blames others. The educated person, however, blames neither others nor themselves. Do not demand that things not under your control and not dependent on you happen as you wish, but accept them as they come, and then you will be happy. Character and behavior of the philosopher, they know that every benefit or harm comes from themselves and no one else. Always remember that you are an actor in a drama as the playwright wishes it. If they want it short, it will be short. If they want it long, it will be long. If they want you to play the role of a poor person, make sure to play it as well as you can. The same goes for the role of a lame person, or a ruler, or a commoner. It depends on you whether you play it well or not. However, the choice of the role belongs to someone else. Also, they said, through Epictetus, that death is not something bad since it is a natural state, nothing bad by nature. Therefore, we should not fear it. Besides, if it were something bad, Socrates wouldn't have accepted it the way he did, calmly and without fear.